Welcome to Batman, Superman, Dawn of Podcast with Adam and Nick.
Welcome to another episode of Batman, Superman, Dawn of Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam. And with me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great, brother. Happy to be back here and got a great show. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's always fun to talk. I guess I could speak for both of us. Our two favorite DC heroes. I know you got a Spider-Man affiliation too, so I don't know where they all rank, so I'll just leave it at DC
Mount
heroes.
Rushmore. I'll tell you that. Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, okay, definitely. Oh, absolutely. So it's always fun to talk to the two top tier heroes of the DC universe, in my opinion. And we've got a lot of news to cover, both in the Batman movie world, the Superman movie world, and then in the second half of the show, we're going to take a look back and review the Batman Superman Public Enemies animated movie. Before we get on with the movie news, I have an unfortunate bit of news that I want to share with the viewers and listeners. If you will remember, about a month ago, we did a special Christmas in July on Back to the Batcave, where Donnie and I reviewed several Batman the Animated Series episodes, and then the Justice League Unlimited episode, Comfort and Joy. And we did it in honor of Donnie's best friend's son, Logan, who was ill. Unfortunately, last night, as of this recording, Donnie sent me a message relaying the news that Logan has passed away. So, first and foremost, because I know what it means to Donnie, we love you, and our hearts go out to you.
Yeah.
To Logan's parents, you have all my prayers and love. There's nothing I could say that I can imagine would make this any easier. So all the prayers and love that I can give to you, they're yours. For Logan, I didn't get a chance to meet this extraordinary young man. But it was from what I understand, from what Donnie was told by his father, he really loved the episode we did. He really enjoyed it. So for me, the fact that I could be a part of that for him means a lot. And again, I never met him, but clearly he left an impact. And any kid that had the name Logan, which is based off after Wolverine, and was a Batman fan, or that's a pretty spectacular combination. So I don't know much about. Look, I'm not a theologian. I don't know what's out there in the afterlife. All I know is that if there is a heaven, I hope he's up there, and I hope he's joined by 3 Batmen: Adam West, Kevin Conroy, and Val Kilmer. And I hope you're all sitting around in a back cave in heaven, and they're regaling you with all of their behind the scenes Batman stories. And I hope also that my friend Dave finds you, because he was a big Batman fan, and hopefully you guys can connect in the afterlife and share your love of Batman as well. But may you rest in peace. And yeah, that's unfortunate. That's the only thing I can offer. Wish I could do more. I wish I could say more. But wishing everyone affected love, prayer, and all the strength in the world.
Absolutely. Cosign. Yeah, not all heroes wear capes, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Sending like you, I'll call sign that, sending the utmost prayers and positive thoughts to, Logan's family and to Donnie, of course, producer Donnie, who does all our episodes and shows with you. Times like this are never easy. You never have the
No,
words and you never have enough support to give around. But hope Logan is resting in power, and obviously this is it's never easy to deal with or heal news like this, whether you know the person or not. You never
no.
want to hear somebody go out that way. So yeah, no.
Especially
Thank
the
you for
worst
sharing.
part
Yeah,
is it's
exactly.
a child, right? And
Exactly.
to me, that's just I don't understand it. But,
Exactly. Right. So yeah, forever.
so there it
Absolutely.
is. And so, in honor of Logan, we're going to dedicate this episode to him,
Absolutely.
and we hope he's up there listening, and hope he enjoys it.
We love you.
Indeed. All right, so on with the show and on with the news. So we here in the fan community of Batman have been waiting a long time for the for progress, let's call it, on Matt Reeves' Batman movie, the sequel, the Batman Part 2. The last time I think we talked, the script had been handed in, and now crew members are being hired. Um, this is a positive step. Uh, it means that they're in some stage of pre-production. Filming should start on time. We even have notification from Colin Farrell as of just a day or two ago that he was getting ready to read the script. So that's good. And again, the fact that the script is done and won't be rewritten, 45 pages at a time while they're filming. I would assume, like some other franchises, apparently every day the actors involved in that tell you this. Well, I haven't read the whole script because there is no completed script. I don't understand how that works, but whatever. But yeah, so presumably he's going to read the whole thing and not just pieces of it. So yeah, Batman Part 2 is ramping up. And again, I couldn't be happier because as much as I lamented the lengthy process that this has been, again, in the grand scheme of what we just discussed, it's a movie. It's not that serious, but we're happy that it's moving forward because entertainment is always a nice distraction from the real world. So, and to have a piece of entertainment that is a follow up to something that was as good as the Batman, I'm extremely excited that things are moving and are going to eventually kick off into proper filming. Nick, what do you make of the fact that things are looking like we're finally getting going here?
It's exciting, right? I mean, like, it just makes it feel real, I think is what it really boils down to. I was just reminded the other day, a few days ago, about when the Batman had its first teaser at DC Fandom.
Yes.
We had like that 3-year anniversary thing of like when that first initial teaser came out and how excited and enthusiastic and how unforgettable and euphoric that whole experience was for all of us to see that movie come to fruition, in that beautiful, perfect teaser, might I add.
25% of the movie
Exactly.
at that
We're only
point.
25%. Need we remind people? 25%. Um, I hope we can at least go back to even a fraction of that. Like, I don't really expect that to be replicated because I don't think you really can. That's lightning in a bottle type stuff. But that's the kind of thing that I'm looking to go back to and feel is that a Batman movie is in front of my eyes and we're finally here. I'm still under the impression that the more I sit with this movie, the more I think that there is something more going on with this movie, whether or not it's just strictly standalone, like we all think, or whether or not there's
Yeah,
something
thank
more,
you. Maybe would you be surprised if at the end of the movie Brendan Sklenar shows up as As the
The
new
multiverse
Batman
movie.
emerges. No, I'm kidding. I'll get to that in a minute.
Hey, it's just like, oh, it's like from going from Val Kilmer to George Clooney, right? Sure, it could work, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, wow.
Wait, same person? No. Yeah,
Cool.
right.
All right, cool.
Exactly. So I'm excited. Hopefully, we start getting those GIFs when Matt Reeves wants
Yes,
to reveal the
when he casts
casting.
people, yeah.
That's always fun. So hopefully that's the next step in this longly drawn out process here.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's good to have the Batman Part 2 in
Yes.
pre-production at this point. Speaking of Batman, since we're talking about Batman, there's also obviously DCU Batman, which, as of this moment, is still slated to be someone that is not Robert Pattinson, according to James Gunn. He's again reiterated that, although every time he gives that answer, it varies from it's a firm no to, well, that's the plan right now, but the door is still open. So who that at this point,
Semantics,
we'll
everybody.
find out when we find out if there's going to be a merger. But assuming that there's not a merger,
Right.
which is the assumption I'm going to go on as of right now, because that's what James Gunn is telling us is the case right now. So there is a segment of Twitter, because that's seemingly the only place I'm seeing this come from. It's not on Facebook. It's not on Snapchat. It's not on TikTok. It's not anywhere else. It seems just to be on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. There's a segment of fans that watched, I guess, the recap of Peacemaker season 2, episode 1. The podcast that James Gunn does with Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee, where James Gunn said he was currently watching 1923, which is the Yellowstone prequel. And of course, there's an actor by the name of Brendan Sklenar on there who a small segment of fans on Twitter seem 100% sure is going to be the DCU Batman. And their basis for this is, well, James Gunn's watching 1923, and when he was watching the Game of Thrones prequel, that's how he cast Millie Alcock. He said that when he saw her in that, he decided that he wanted her as DCU Supergirl. So obviously, the sleuth detectives in the Brendan Sklenar fan club have just guaranteed now that, well, that must be, he's watching 1923. Clearly, he's going to cast him as Batman. Now look, Brendan Sklenar is not my first choice for Batman. However, hypothetically, if he were to be cast, I would accept it and I would support it because I love Batman. And as long as, and I mean no disrespect to Jack Black, but as long as James Gunn doesn't cast Jack Black, who is clearly not right for the role of Batman, I'll pretty much give anybody a chance, right? I'll support whoever they deem is the guy. Because again, James Gunn and his casting director are experts in this field. I am not. So I'm going to defer to the experts. So I'll support it if he's the guy. But by no means do I think James Gunn watching 1923 is a guarantee that Brendan Sklenar is going to be Batman. I'm not calling that at this stage of the game. Absolutely not. That's the first thing. Second of all, and I'm not knocking anybody's preference, whatever they do with their social media accounts. But I have a question, and maybe you can surmise what might happen to those people. But there are a group of people that like their whole existence on social media is championing Brendan Sklar as Batman. Oh, he's going to be Batman. He's going to be Batman. He's going to be Batman. Here's my question: what is if Brendan Sklar does not get cast as Batman? Like, what do you do with your social media account? Do you delete it? Do you rebrand? Do you go cry in a corner? Like, what happens? This is why I'm happy that I have no horse in the race. Like, I can't sit here and say, you know what, Nick, this is my guy. This is the horse I'm backing for Batman. I don't have that because I just want. Hey, listen, just give me the actor that you think is the best. Give me a good script and let's roll. Right? That's my philosophy. So I don't have this horse. I don't have a horse in the race. I'm not putting money on anybody. So whoever gets cast as Batman, my account is still going to be bitching about the fact that the Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. I'm still going to be finding a new multiverse wife every week. My account is going to be the same. But one of these people that have dedicated their entire account to Brendan Sklar as Batman, what are they going to do if he's not Batman? So, Nick, first of all, what do you make of all these rumors? What do you think of the chances that this guy is going to be Batman? And what do you think is going to happen with those accounts if he's not Batman?
Well, I don't know if I want to answer that question because who really knows how people evolve on the internet, right? Here's what I'll say.
Or if they evolve. Yeah.
If they evolve, who knows? Yeah, maybe they devolve. The only horse that I have in the race right now is Robert Pattinson, is Batman. I want to make that perfectly clear. I mean, I understand the Brendan Sklar fancast. I mean, I've seen him in a few movies. I've seen 1923. He's really great in that show. I will give him credit for that. He certainly has the physique and the mentality. I can kind of see why somebody would want to picture him as Batman. I could see it, him next to David Corn Sweat, as Superman. In terms of like the eye test, the visual eye frame, I do kind of see it. And he's a fine actor. I mean, like that. That's what I'll say. I do that. He probably is the right age range that you should be looking for. I think he can definitely play a 10-year Batman with a son. Believably. I kind of like get all that, right?
Sure.
I'm kind of like understanding the logic and the morale because you look at so David Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan seemed like the only choices at the time because it seemed like the ones that fans were petitioning for the most. I know like there were other Lois Lane fancasts that people wanted, but it seemed like for the most part people were mainly on board with Corn Sweat and Brosnahan. Millie Alcott kind of came out of nowhere, but then I don't really think many people saw her as Supergirl when they saw that show. When they saw House of the Dragon, but James Gunn saw it. So I'm trying to pinpoint here because like I'm online and like really the only DCU Batman fan cast I'm seeing outside of a fraction of people wanting Pattinson to crossover is Brendan Sklar. So
right.
And again, like we're never gonna know until like James Gunn actually addresses whether or not he's looking at the guy, which he's never actually done. Like I want to make that clear. He's never actually acknowledged that that he's looking at
He wouldn't say it until after the guy's cast. So like anybody waiting for James Gunn to say, okay guys, don't worry. I called him on the phone. He's coming in next week for a meeting. Yeah, he's not going to say that,
which he's not going to do. So we're not going to know until we find out, if we find out that he got an audition for the role of Batman. Right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's all just fun fan speculation. We all have who we want as Batman. I've been under the impression that it's still might be somebody that's considered more of an A-list star, and I don't think Brendan Sklar is there just yet. He could be one day. And who knows? Maybe he stars in a movie that makes $500 million before Batman gets made, and maybe that ups his stock a little bit. But for now, I'm still going to be under the impression that DCU Batman, whether it's Pattinson or not, is going to be an A-list actor, like Jake Gyllenhaal or someone like that.
That's
like
typically the way they've gone.
A name out. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I think you got a good handle on the situation. Again, like I said, it's hey, if he gets it, I'll support it. But I'm not going to bet any money as of right now that because James Gunn is watching 1923, that he's going to be Batman. Like, God knows what other shows James Gunn is watching.
Right.
I mean, he could be listening to, Chris Brown music doesn't mean
Sure.
Chris Brown's going to be cast as Cyborg.
Doesn't mean one of his songs is gonna pop up in Peacemaker season 3. Doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah. Will Smith isn't coming back as Deadshot just because James Gunn is driving to his office on the Warner Brothers lot and he hears getting jiggy with it on the radio. I mean, this is the logic we're now using at this point. This is the logic we're using, and it's like, look, you know who's going to be Batman? Whoever the hell James Gunn decides is going to be Batman when he decides. That's what I worry about it, right? Look, I want Brave and the Bold. Like, if I could have Brave and the Bold in front of my face tomorrow, do I want that? Yes, but that's not what I have right now. I have the Batman 2 in some stage of pre-production. That's the thing I'm focused on where Batman is concerned right now. When Brave and the Bold continues to move at a pace where it's beyond the script stage, then I'll start, well, let's see, I wonder who it could be. But until then, right now, again, like you, I'm focused on the Batman Part 2. It's nice to hear James Gunn recently say, the script for the Brave and the Bold Part 2 is coming along nicely. It's moving along, good. Everything's good. That's great. I love hearing that. But again, once he says, hey, okay, the script is done, we're going to go into pre-production, then I'll start, now you see, now I'm listening. Now I'm going to do a head tilt like crypto and start listening. And okay, now you've piqued my interest. Now we can start having the debate, right? But for example, here's just an idea that we'll move on to the Superman news. Remember when there were the candidates of the different Superman actors, Nicholas Hoult and there was a Tom Brittany, I think was the guy, right?
Yep.
So he made it into the top 3 of auditions, right? I think it was him, Corin Sweat, and Holt were the final 3. What's to say James Gunn doesn't bring Tom Brittany or whatever his actual name is back in to test for Batman? We don't know. Sure. Could happen because WB's done that before.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So at this point, it's way too early to call.
Mm-hmm.
The only way Batman of the DCU is being cast right now is if he has a cameo in Clayface. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. If he has a cameo where we actually see his face. Because Batman could have a cameo where we see him in the shadows.
Post-credit scene.
Right. So, but that's the only way. So, again.
Unless, of course, he casts Jennifer Holland as Batman and just wants to be done with that. Then,
I'd go, look, it's gender bending and all that, but I'd go for it because, wait a minute. Where's the, hold on, wait.
You don't even have your pen by you. Holy cow.
Who the hell's my pen? Here.
Oh, it's because he's went through too many of them, everybody. There you go.
Yeah.
He had to go through the box.
James, I apologize. You have Earth 1, Jennifer Holland. But on one of my multiverse Earths, when I open the door like Peacemaker, Jennifer Holland is absolutely on the list. And now James Gunn is never going to give me any inside information just because of that pen click. But it's okay because I wasn't getting any anyway. But yeah, so it's way too early. Let's just relax. Everybody calm down. We know when we know. How about that?
There you go.
And then I'm sure the internet will handle whoever's cast as DCU Batman in a totally rational and calm manner, as the internet has proven countless times before. And if you can't tell I'm being sarcastic, well, I don't know what's wrong with your ears. Anyway, okay, so the Batman stuff is out of the way. Now, on to Superman. Nick, there are some strange people out there on the internet, as if we haven't keyed in on this before, that are under the deluded impression that the Superman movie from James Gunn is not a success. I don't know where they'd get this nonsense, because we're just going to run through the box office numbers as of last night of what we have, okay? So, as of this past weekend, which was the 22nd through the 24th of August, Superman grossed $3.4 million in North America on its 7th 3-day weekend, bringing its domestic total to $347 million. Worldwide, this past weekend, as of this recording, it added another, I believe, $1.8 million. So it has a worldwide total of, let's see here, $257.5 million for a grand global total of $604.5 million. Now, important metrics for that $604 million number are the fact that, with the exception of, I would say, two movies, which are Jurassic World, I can't remember what the subtitle is, and Formula One, China has rebuked North American movies. Those are the only two that are doing well overseas. In China. Let me rephrase. So, for all intents and purposes, China, in terms of, for the Superman movie, was basically non-existent. I mean, it grossed $8.4 million total, but basically non-existent. We also have to keep in mind that the Russian market is no longer feasible because of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. So that also takes out any Ukrainian box office as well. Because again, there's a more serious situation going on there, far more serious than, hey, let's release a movie, right? You know, like, again, sometimes there are bigger things in life than entertainment. But so those, you know, China is basically non-existent. Russia and Ukraine, the money that's because everybody likes to compare, right? There's a certain segment of fandom. Oh, it didn't beat the worldwide of Man of Steel. Yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing: Man of Steel had a healthy Chinese box office back in 2013 that was eating up North American movies, right? They were loving them, right? It had Russia as a viable box office contributor, and it had Ukraine as a viable box office contributor. Those three are virtually and actually non-existent for Superman, and yet it still has $604.5 million. And here's the best part: we already know that it's getting a sequel. So anybody saying, "Well, the movie is not a success," pull the figure. It's getting a sequel. They don't make movies or sequels to movies that don't make enough money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason why. Well, there's multiple reasons why, but there's one in particular to this discussion. Reason why Ezra Miller is not returning for The Flash Part 2. One of them is box office. The other one is Ezra Miller. But I digress. But you see what I mean? Like, there's a reason why Jason Momoa is not playing Ball instead of starring in Aquaman 3, because Aquaman 2 didn't do anything. So, again, Hollywood is not in the practice of, oh, this movie failed, let's make a sequel. Because Alita Battle Angel would have had a part 2 by now, if that was the case. So, this notion that it's a failure, I think, is just pure stupidity and just ignoring facts. That's number one. Number two, speaking of that sequel, Nick, and then I'll get your thoughts on both. Mm-hmm. James Gunn has said he has already written a treatment for the next film in what he's calling the Superman saga. You know, David Zaslav described the sequel as the next Superman family film. But so James Gunn's written the treatment and is almost finished, or close to being, according to his own words, if we're interpreting them correctly, is almost finished the actual script. Like, they're actively looking at locations to shoot.
This guy works fast.
Like, I don't know, does this man sleep? I mean, he's married to Jennifer Holland, so I don't know why you'd want to sleep. But
I don't know why he wouldn't get sleep.
Yeah, but anyway. But yeah, like, and he says, you know, this is going to go in front of cameras sooner rather than later. So, and he said that because he was on a podcast recently where he said the Superman follow-up would feature characters that we were introduced to in Superman, would feature that grouping, a portion of that grouping of characters. So my first thought is that it's because for the special features of Superman, if you watch the digital edition, I believe in one of the documentaries there was a drawing of Superman, Supergirl, Krypto, and then part of Brainiac's head. You could tell it was Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm of the belief, this is just my personal opinion. Again, James Gunn hasn't told me anything. And the fact that now Jennifer Holland is on my Multiverse Wives list, he probably never will tell me anything. But just from my putting 1 + 1 should equal 2, again, I'm not Sherlock Holmes, I'm not Batman, so my detective skills may be shit. But my assumption is that we're going to get a team-up film with Superman, Supergirl. Obviously, Krypto will probably be there if they change certain things from Woman of Tomorrow. I hope they do, because that's going to piss off a lot of people.
Adam.
And they're going to be going up against Brainiac. That's my assumption. So, what do you think of, first of all, where the box office is for Superman, and then what do you think the next Superman saga movie actually is?
Okay, so the box office, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head, for sure. Like, it's gonna make less than Man of Steel did worldwide. Like, that just is what it is. Learn to live with it, learn to accept it. It's still an overwhelming success on every metric that you look at it.
Yeah.
You look at Superman, like, critics loved it, audiences loved it. It's going to be the highest grossing comic book movie of the year. And let's even look at the last 2 years. It's definitely already made more than most comic movies that have came out recently in the last 2 years. So already, and it's getting a sequel that's probably going to come out in the next 2 years. So, like, by all defaults of metric, it's a success, right? It's just the domestic number is amazing too. I don't understand why anybody can say it's not a success.
It cleared Man of Steel BVS.
Right. So, and it's already the top 5 highest grossing DC comic movie of all time. Right.
Well, here's another addition just before you continue.
Yeah.
As of this weekend, domestically, it entered the top 10 highest grossing films for Warner Brothers ever, period.
Exactly.
So, like, that's what I mean. I understand this while it was a failure. Well, hold on. I understand why the group that's saying it is saying it.
Sure.
Because they're mad that their universe is dead.
Yeah.
Especially if they watched the intro to Peacemaker season 2, which made me laugh even more, just because I knew that they were seething as they watched that from their parents' basement. But so I know why they're saying it. It's just the stupidest logic I've ever seen known to man.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And it's so, I mean, like, it's a success, especially like when you see, like, okay, what were they always saying from the beginning, right? It just has to rehabilitate the DC brand, and they wanted to make $500 million. They were very clear up front what it needed to do.
Yeah.
So it set standards, and it hit those standards, right? Man of Steel, like you said too, and I'm glad that you did that. 2013 was a way much different time, man. That was the peak of the genre. Economy wasn't in the state that it was now. So, like, there's a bunch of different factors that we don't have to get political for.
So here, forget about never mind politics. Let me just throw this on. Sorry to interrupt you, but I forgot to mention this before. The marketing for Man of Steel, had produced, and this was on every friggin' trailer, on every friggin' poster, produced by the director of the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan. His name was everywhere.
Yep.
He was like the filmmaker equivalent of Pedro Pascal. He was everywhere. So, and that was the year after the release of Man of Steel. Was the year after The Dark Knight Rises made over $1 billion, and his name was all over that, plastered all over it. And yet, the movie that a certain group is claiming is a failure beat it handily at the domestic box office.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you people.
Right. Yeah, and then this whole, like, adjusted for inflation.
You can't do
like,
that.
You don't know what that means. Like, when you use it, you're using it as a means to fit your own narrative. And that, I mean, box office numbers, I got news for you. They aren't reported by adjusted for inflation. That you take the number that's reported as is, right? If you adjusted your paycheck for inflation, the world will be a much happier place.
Yeah,
I mean,
but also, Nick, if you adjust the box office for inflation, you have to do that with the budget too, which they fail to do because then it destroys their narrative. Yeah.
All that, and asking Grok or asking an AI tool whether it's like, nah, man. So, end of the day, it's a success. Learn to live with it. Like it's just like you say, hey, just like the Manwick player says, learn to live with it, learn to love it.
It's the best thing going today.
It's the best thing going today.
It's getting a sequel.
And it's getting a sequel. Speaking of sequels, because you set it up so beautifully, I think if anybody's read Panic in the Sky, I think that's a good indicator of what I would expect. So I would fully expect this is a Superman, Supergirl team up with members of the Justice Gang in it, probably going up against Brainiac. Now, do I care who the villain is? No, not really. I just want to see a Superman sequel sooner rather than later. But if I was a betting man, considering Zaslav probably kind of already revealed what it was, I'd be like a betting man if I didn't say that it's probably not a Superman, Supergirl team up with members of the Justice Gang in it going against some kind of invasion threat. That's my guess.
So I think
it's probably going to be like in summer of 2027. Ideally, is what we could be looking at. I thought
the way he's moving, it would seem that way. But
I thought that might be like a Wonder Woman movie, but that might be the following year. So Mr. Gunn works fast. I give it to him.
He certainly does. I don't understand the man. Like the guy's a machine. Like I'm happy, right? Like I'm happy with it, right?
Sure.
And again, I think the fact that Zaslav called it Superman Family, even though James Gunn is saying, well, it involves characters we've met in the Superman movie. Well,
yeah.
And some people are saying, well, is it a Justice Gang / Justice League movie? I don't think it is, because I think they would have called it something more akin, like Zaslav would have come right out and said it.
Yeah.
Right?
It went from being a quasi Superman sequel, right? And then to James Gunn saying Superman has a significant presence in the movie, to now the movie being a super family. The next chapter.
So really, it's like,
it's all semantics. It's the more money Superman's making, the more it just kind of ups the scale. Like, okay, it's got to be a Superman sequel. It can't just have Superman in the movie for like 20 minutes. It's got to be a Superman sequel.
I don't think it's going to devolve into a BVS situation where Superman is just there to get beat up by Batman and hey, look, it's here too. I don't think it's that. I think it's, look, Superman will probably. I mean, if let's assume Brainiac is the villain, Superman's going to take a couple of hits. There's no doubt about it. But
sure,
but yeah, it's just the fact that like we're getting like it's concrete. Superman's coming back, and there's no, well, it did good enough, but we're gonna put Batman in here because we're scared. Like, there's none of that here. Like I don't see James Gunn saying, "Well, look, we're casting Brandon Sklar because we need Batman desperately to show up." Because, like, if anything, I'm not like. It wouldn't shock me if we don't see DCU Batman until 2028. Like, I'm not expecting him to be fast-tracked because, hey, we desperately need it for box office reasons. That's not the case here, which was the case after summer of 2013. Like, Warner Brothers was moving faster than The Flash to get Batman in the movie because, we need Batman, right? So that's not the case here. So, again, the Superman brand, thanks to this movie, is a success. Again, it's like people are talking. I've seen more Superman shirts this summer than I have within like the general public than I have in a decade or plus.
Right.
So it worked. And people are talking positively about this movie. They're not saying, well, I kind of think that, but I'm not sure about him snapping people's necks. Like, I don't like that. Like, they're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing overtly controversial that's causing issue here. And that's the benefit. So Superman is thriving. The DC universe is thriving because look, Peacemaker, the first episode came out to excellent critic reviews. I believe you gave it a positive review. The first 5 episodes that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
I just read before we came on here that the first episode had a 22% increase on HBO Max from the from the last episode from the last season.
That's great.
That's partially probably due to his appearance in Superman, no doubt. Also, do not let your kids watch Peacemaker. Like, if you're coming out of Superman and saw Peacemaker in there, if you have like 8 to 10-year-olds,
oh boy,
do not let them watch season 1 or season 2. Do not let them watch season 1 or 2. Well, quite frankly, but especially episode 1 of season 2, because even I was unprepared for a couple of things I saw in there. Again, not that they ruined anything for me, but I was like, okay, we're going here. But yeah, so the DCU is a success. We got Supergirl coming. We got Lanterns. We got some sort of Superman sequel coming. So it's all good for people that love DC and aren't just married to one director's vision or one singular tone or aesthetic. We're living in a good time as DC fans. So let's enjoy it. And I'm already at the point where I'm saying bring on Supergirl, because that's where I am.
yeah.
That covers all the news. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we'll come back and talk Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, the animated movie. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's up, everyone? It's the Emerald Enthusiast. For all of your multiverse viewing and listening needs, check out our shows, which include Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, Power Rangers, the Marvel Universe, and the DC Universe, including the Emerald Echo podcast. You can check us out on Podbean, and remember to subscribe right here on YouTube. That's the Multiverse Musings Podcast Network. From the first podcast to the last.
And we're back, and as promised, we're going back to, 2009, I think, when Superman, Batman, Public Enemies came out. It starred the familiar voice cast of Tim Daly as Superman. It starred the late, great Kevin Conroy as the voice of Bruce Wayne Batman. It starred Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor. CC Pounder as Amanda Waller. So all the core voices from the DC animated universe, from Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, reprised their significant roles. Although we never heard Lois Lane speak once, she just had like a cameo at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if she had a speaking role, it probably would have been Dana Delaney, but she never had a speaking role, so we can't really comment. This movie for me had a lot of excitement going in, because when I got back into comics in 2004, for Christmas that year, my sister gifted me the first 5 issues of Batman and Superman, the story that was Public Enemies. So to get to see that in animated form, like, I was really excited when I saw the trailer for it. And one of the things I remember fondly, Nick, of these early DC adaptations, these animated movies, was the fact that they tried to, through their animation, mimic the art style of the actual comic they were adapting. And I always liked that for these movies, as opposed to having one unique or one standard homogenized style across, a bunch of movies like the rebooted animated movies recently had. I much prefer each movie having a distinct animated style. And this looked a lot like Ed McGuinness's art from that that comic. And again, for me, having those familiar voices that I remembered from the animated series made it all the more special. Like, what was your reaction if you could remember back to the like? What was your reaction to knowing that this particular movie was coming and the voice cast and the animation?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna echo what you said. I mean, the book is great too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
looks
it's
fantastic.
inspired by. If you haven't read Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, do yourself a favor and check it out because it's great. I echo you. You know, I love this movie. This is actually one of my favorite DC animated movies, like from that time, from that era.
Yeah,
Because these movies just hit different, like they just do. You know, I'm in complete agreement with you. I love Batman and Superman teaming up together. The Conroy and Daly as the voices is just iconic. The world feels so lived in, and it's just a comic book story.
yeah.
And it just it moves beautifully too. I mean, so my hype level was pretty high to this one, right? And I was already coming up at the time where you know I had Phantasm, I had Return of the Joker, I had Under
Yeah.
the Red Hood. You know, we had like these all movies down in a row, and they were all just like hitting because DC animation was like on fire during that time. So I was really excited, you know, for this movie when it came out, and every time I've seen it, I love it even more.
It's amazing that for an hour and 7 minutes, they packed a lot of that comic straight into this movie. Like there's, I would say, three quarters
It's almost
was
beat for beat.
adapted verbatim.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like I loved how, and you know what's funny? Again, without getting too far into specific politics, I mean, but you know, when you see the opening montage in this movie, and you see Lex is running, and he has a 22% favorability rating among voters that they're going to vote for, like only 20%. And you know, the comedy talk show late night host is laughing, saying, "There's no way he's ever going to get elected." And then boom, he gets elected, and oh, the stock market goes down, the economy goes down, and it's like, geez, you know, this is sounding. This is sounding a lot, very, very accurate to today,
Poetic justice.
or injustice, depending how you look at
Yeah,
it.
poetic injustice.
But so that was just shocking how relatable, how unfortunately related in my case, and probably your case, unfortunately relatable what it is. But you know, and you see how he's got that group of superheroes on his the government's payroll, like they work for the government. You have Black Lightning, you have Atom, the Atom, or is it the Atom, or yeah, right? I think it
Captain
is.
Adam, Power Girl, and then
Captain Atom, the Power Girl, Katana,
Women's Quintana, and then was
a
it
Major Force,
Major
and Black
Force?
Lightning. Yeah.
Yep.
What I find very interesting, and also now knowing what I know, very weird. Allison Mack plays the voice of, or does the voice of Power Girl.
Yeah.
Which under any other circumstance I would say, hey, look, they
It
got
was
a
a cool
Smallville.
Easter egg in 2009.
Smallville, yeah, that's what I heard. I'm like, look at that, some Smallville representation. That's cool. And then listening to it yesterday, I'm like, that's suddenly problematic.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that that her job was to watch over a 14-year-old boy. I don't think it's a good idea. But I digress.
Look up that story if you don't know who we're talking about, everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair warning, though.
Yeah. It's not. It's not.
It's no Christmas Carol, I'll tell you that.
Yes, definitely not. Um, and like, I love how, like in the opening, like they're just, you know, the government-funded heroes, let's call them. They don't try and recruit Superman right away. It's more of like, okay, can you admit that, you know, crime is down and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. And Superman can't bring himself to say, yeah, okay, on that issue, Lex is doing a good job. Because in his mind, okay, there's something he's planning something, and I know it because of years of dealing with this SOB, but it's frustrating that nobody can see it. So Superman can't bring himself to compliment the job Lex is doing. And there's a point where the heroes are like, well, I guess Lex is not the only one with an ego. And to a point, they're kind of right, because I don't think, even if Lex wasn't being nefarious, I think it would be very hard for Superman to say, okay, yeah, he's doing a good job, just because of the history there. But by the same token, Lex never has, up until that point in comic book history, had never really given Superman credit for anything either. And all Superman has literally done is good for humanity, right? There's piles of evidence that that's all he does, right? Where so yeah, they both have that. It's just the nature of their relationship. But I like that at least early on, there wasn't a direct push by the other heroes to force Superman to work for Luthor. Although, like, Superman was right, because we find out through the news that there's a meteorite, a kryptonite meteorite that is on course with Earth, and nothing that missiles and whatever other scenarios the military or Lex's government have surmised can stop the meteorite. Right? They try to hit it with missiles, and the radiation just destroys the missiles, right? And so there's nothing that can be done. So Lex, concocts this ruse of, I want to meet with Superman to plan a strategy, because he knows all there is to know about kryptonite, and we could work together. And then when he gets him alone, the best part was where he meets up with Batman, and there's this whole back and forth about Batman's like, you're going to meet with him, right?
It's so great.
He's like, you're going to meet with him anyway. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I can't just sit around and do nothing. And Batman's like, when this goes bad, and it will, don't expect me to save you.
Yeah.
I just love that Batman's like, I know that you're going to meet with him because you're naive like that, and I know it's going to go wrong. And even though he says, I don't expect me to save you, the first thing Batman does is goes and saves Superman. But so Lex uses, he sets up the meeting. Superman meets him there, and then he has Metallo there to try and take out Superman. But at the same time, he's recorded footage. He's created the scenario that, okay, if Metallo is successful, Superman is dead and I win. But if Metallo can't beat Superman, I'm going to send Major Force there to finish the job, take out Metallo, and then frame Superman for doing it, which is exactly what Lex does, because Batman gets there, saves Superman, and then Superman is hit with a kryptonite bullet from a gunshot from Metallo, and him and Batman get kind of buried alive, but thanks to a bomb, because conveniently they're in a Gotham cemetery. Why this meeting is happening in Gotham, I'll never know, but it's happening in Gotham. Batman and Superman end up in the sewers and finding an alternate route to the Batcave, where Batman can sort of...
That's why they're in Gotham.
Yeah, conveniently, but Batman and Alfred can kind of extract the bullet and help Superman. But anyway, so Lex concocts this whole fake news story about, look, Superman attacked Metallo, and what my doctors and scientists have surmised is that it's the kryptonite meteorite that is messing with Superman's brain. It's causing him to do this. So then he puts out a bounty on Superman and Batman, because they're now fugitives. But what I loved about that whole segment, Nick, and then you can tell me what you thought, was, first of all, the banter between Batman and Superman, as we kind of discussed. but also like the machination, the planning of Lex Luthor. Like this is the Lex that we've wanted, and I think we finally got with Nicholas Hoult in live action. But this is the Lex. Like this is Lex to me, right? This is how he is,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he's the president at this point in time makes him, to a degree, untouchable. Because what's Superman going to do? Punch the president of the United States?
Right.
How would that look, right? So, what do you think about that?
I mean, the plot of this movie is incredible. I mean, like let's honestly give it its props, right? It's Lex Luthor puts a bounty on Superman, and who is Superman going to go to and ask for help? He goes for Batman. So now you set up this movie where Lex runs for president. He's the most powerful person in the world, and the only way to take down Superman is for him to actually have that kind of power. So the movie, like Batman and Superman going up against heroes that they've worked with in the past, and then there's all these kind of villains that pop up in between because like everyone's a gun for hire in this movie because he puts out a $1 billion bounty for the person that can kill Superman, which is great. And like while it does kind of have like this video game approach to it, because like there's like villains that just pop up out of nowhere in this movie, and it's great. It all just works. I mean, like I love the fact that like they got Conroy and Daly for this movie because like their banter, like you just said, is so great in this movie, and it's like I can only picture these two like doing it. And it's great. I mean, it's like you love the dynamic between Batman and Superman. Like when they're on the same page, it's incredible. So the idea of like they're trying to survive against the world essentially, it's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, and like as you mentioned, there is like we saw everybody from Gorilla Grodd to Grundy to Mongol, Mr. Freeze,
Killer Frost,
Captain Cold, like Bane. Everybody was in this thing, right? And it was just like there's the scene where Superman and Batman are back to back, and they're just being surrounded by all these guys. It was so cool just to watch them, do their thing. And then, as they're on the run, they finally are able to convince Power Girl and Captain Atom that when Batman is goading Major Force into admitting that he was the one that killed Metallo, like that's when Power Girl and Captain Atom and Black Lightning come around, and are like, okay, yeah, Lex is not in the right here, so Batman and Superman send Power Girl to kind of check in on Toyman, who is a 13-year-old kid who is working with Batman to build a solution to get rid of the asteroid. Meanwhile, they go after Lex, who's operating out of a military bunker, right? And we find that he's injecting himself with kryptonite, like almost like a steroid.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks kind of like Brock Lesnar, a bald Brock Lesnar at one point. When he's injecting himself. But as they're about to confront Lex, they're confronted by Hawkman and Shazam. And so there's the great fight, there's a fight, obviously, because it's just the nature of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then after there's an understanding and they assume the identity, Batman and Superman assume the identity
this was so good.
Of Hawkman and Shazam. And that's made easier because of the way the art style that this movie's trying to emulate, which is Ed McGuinness, who Batman and Superman look almost identical to Hawkman and Shazam. The only difference is basically Superman's hair curl and the costumes they're wearing. That's literally the only difference. So you can pull that off. So they pull this whole switcheroo and they get into Lex's base and they threaten him to hand over all the information on the asteroid. He doesn't want to. He actually tells his computer to delete all the files. But Amanda Waller has had enough of Lex's nonsense. So she hands over the hard drive to them, and then calls for Lex to be arrested because he's, literally wanting the asteroid to hit Earth at this point, and that is clearly and obviously against what the office of the President of the United States should be doing. There's a certain president that should be watching this movie, and maybe this is what not to do, but I digress. Maybe you might want to check this out just for pointers of what not to do. But so also, it seems like the reason why Amanda Waller is pissed off is in part because Lex is going against what's in the best interests for the country and the world, but also he was playing with her emotions and like kind of promising her a relationship, but then not wanting anything to do with her, and she realized that, and she's like, okay, I've had enough. So hell hath no, what's the saying? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Yep. Especially when that woman is Amanda Waller.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you want to cross her. But so what did you think of that whole bait and switch, Nick?
That bait and switch, honestly, like it was awesome. I mean, like, not just like aesthetically because it fit. Like Batman as Hawkman looked awesome, and like Superman as Shazam generally just fit. Always trying to get the one up on Lex Luthor is great. And he believes it so well too. Right? Like he talks down to them, thinking like he has them under his thumb, and then here's like the bait and switch switcheroos. Like it's great stuff. And then you have like Amanda Waller, who by default is always like up to something. Like she always has like this secret behind the scenes, secret intention, right? But like at the end, she tries to help him out because she knows it's in the best interest of the world to do so. So it all works. The thing that's terrifying is Lex injecting himself with kryptonite. Because you would just think like, I mean, I don't know how he would hide that under his suit too, because how he looks when he doesn't have his suit on, and how he looks when he injects himself with kryptonite is insane.
He looked like I tell you, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he looked like a fucking wrestler in the '90s on steroids.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great stuff because I mean, like it sets up everything.
Triple H.
Yeah. The only reveal that I gave you that I had a self adjustment. Then I remember okay, he's practically a kid in the Superman animated series anyway, so it's not like it's the liberty of making Toyman 13-year-old kid. Yeah. It's cool. It works. It works for what they need to do.
Toyman is kind of interesting because you're right. Even when the comic, when they revealed he was a kid, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. But again, it's not the same Toyman as Winslow shot, and that's where the confusion kind of comes from.
Exactly.
So Toyman, whose name is Hero something or other, his fixation with Power Girls, how can I put this delicately?
Looks.
Daily Planet Globes.
Sure.
To keep it kosher, is something that the way he was talking about them would probably not make it into an animated movie in today's day and age.
Or it might,
I'm like, well, yeah, it depends. But it's like, oh, well, I like when there was a scene where, so he shows Batman and Superman the rocket, and basically it's a composite version of it's the rocket is half Batman and half Superman, and he admits, when I made this when I was 8, I had a severe case of hero worship, which makes sense because he was a kid and that's what a kid would design,
right?
And then Superman's like, but is this actually it looks cool, but is this gonna work? Yeah. And he's about to say, Is it gonna work? Does Power Girl have big? And then Batman cuts him off. I was like, just get to work, kid. And the delivery of Kevin Conroy was just so deadpan and straight. It was like, this is why this guy's Batman. He's just like so
Yep.
on point.
Yep.
And then just as they're gonna get in the rocket, Lex Luthor attacks, and he's in his battle suit, and so he's going back and forth, and he's attacking both of them at one point. But Batman realizes that even if Superman goes up in that rocket, the exposure to that amount of kryptonite will kill him. So Batman, while Superman is distracted with Lex, takes it upon himself to go into the rocket, knowing that, doing this will probably kill me, but he does it anyway. And even Superman tries to stop him and said, what are you, insane? So Batman goes off. Superman thinks he's automatically going to die because of it. He takes that out on Lex, and I love how, because Lex is wearing the battle suit, that means Superman can go full force because Luthor's battle suit can take it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell, especially with who was voicing Superman and who was voicing Lex, that this was years from the animated series, years of constant frustration on Superman's part of, like, how long have we been doing this dance? And now that people elected you president, because he didn't say this, but I could tell this is what he said, because they're too stupid to see you for what you really are. But now I'm going to take it. You kill, and he even says, you just gave my best friend a death sentence, and now I'm going to take it out on you. And like he beat the living snot out of Lex in that power suit. Like, he tossed him through buildings. He broke that suit into like pieces. And there's the one scene where just before the rocket, the Batman Superman rocket's going to collide with the meteorite. Lex gives one last punch to Luthor, and he's like, Luthor's like, you can't touch me, I'm the president. He's like, you've been impeached, and he gives him one punch that breaks a hole through the suit. I'm like, oh man, that's classic. That was great. Like, the delivery of that line was incredible. And again, it's amazing how on point to modern day this movie actually is. I don't think anybody expected that when they made this movie, but here we are.
It's why it's going to be the world's finest movie that inevitably happens.
It should be. It should have been the first time around, but don't get me started on that.
Revisionist history.
But so, and then, of course, the rocket collides with the meteorite. The meteorite shatters into pieces. The world is saved. Just as Superman starts moping around because he thinks Batman is dead, Power Girl and the other heroes make a big entrance saying, Toyman says there's still a chance for Batman to be, to survive. Superman takes off, and there was a piece of the rocket that was built, I guess, to protect whoever was in it from the radiation. So Batman was okay. Superman saves him. They land on a rooftop as they watch from below as the people are cheering them on. And, you see Lois kind of arriving in a helicopter. And Superman and Batman are having their banter. And he's like, why don't you stay for, I'm assuming Superman was going to say breakfast or lunch or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Batman goes, I can't. It's late. And he's like, what do you mean it's late? And he looks, and the sun's coming up. And for Batman, that's late because that's when he's not
working today.
Right? So Superman turns around and goes, what do you mean it's late? And then, of course, Batman's not there. And Superman's got this, he doesn't say anything, but he's got this look at his face like, oh, there he goes again. He's like, and when you consider that Superman is the speed that Superman can move at, that Batman is able to do that disappearing act even to him that he does to Jim Gordon and everybody else. It's pretty hilarious.
You must
So
have saw
like I said,
Catwoman on another building or something.
yeah, probably. And then yeah, I would have taken off too. But so it ends on a happy ending. But what did you think of that final third act battle between Superman and Lex, and then the end with Batman and Superman, one final bit of banter?
This whole third act was just chef's kiss. I mean, like
Yes.
I mean, you have Lex in the iconic battle suit, and then you have him going against Superman, and then I tell you what, every time I've heard like that was my best friend, and you just killed him, that just brings a tear in my eye. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like the fact
yeah.
that like you feel that Superman and Batman have this kind of friendship and this kinship, and for Superman to say like that's my best friend that you just killed, and now it just adds the more stakes at what Superman could do to Lex in those circumstances. Um, it always just brings a tear to my eye because like I love that like we were at that point where like they do trust each other to that extent,
And
as polar
especially,
opposites as they are.
yeah, just to piggyback on what you're saying, I love the fact that Superman is willing to say it out loud, and even to
Right?
Batman, we're like, I consider you my best friend. But
Yep.
Batman, while he does think that, and while he'll admit it to like Alfred and Robin and
Yep.
maybe Catwoman and some other people, he'll never give Superman the satisfaction of saying
Really,
his face unpeaceable.
It's great. Yeah. So it's like that part I just love too. And like the action is just so great. And the whole thing is like all the action in this movie is spectacular too. But I love the way it resolves too, the way that like Superman
Yeah.
does get the win at the end, Lex gets the loss, and then and now like we're back to the way everything should be.
Yeah.
With the world. So everything kind of like fits back into the puzzle the way that it should. But my God, was just such a great like just comic book Batman and Superman story. I mean, like everything in this movie just clicks.
I honestly think it's the perfect movie to adapt.
Yeah.
Like it just, James, if you're on the off chance that you're listening to this, first of all, you're probably still pissed off at me because your wife is on my multiverse wives list, and I apologize for that. But if you're listening and still, want to take some of our advice, in spite of that, adapt this into live action for the love of God. It's right there.
Yeah.
Like you all you have to do is flesh it out to make it another hour and a bit longer. That's it.
Right.
Really.
Or even if like you don't have to do Lex as president, you can still let him put the bounty out when he's in jail or something. I mean,
yeah.
the overall crux of the story can definitely still work.
There are several. There are several. I think there are like at least 4 according to a recent interview by James Gunn. There's at least 4 movies in the Superman saga. It could be one of them, right? Like that could be the 4th, leading up to a Justice League movie, for all we know, right? Like even if they want to do the Lex as president, even though he's been sent to Bell Reed for now, I mean, so what? I mean,
nobody stays in Arkham for long. I don't expect it to be the same for Bell Reed.
It's not like we don't have a precedent of a felon, a convicted felon being president of the United States. It's not like a foreign concept. Just saying, cough, cough, wink, wink. Look who's there now. But so it's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, like to me, if you're going to do a world's finest, it's either this movie or the first crossover between the two in the animated series.
Oh yeah,
like those are the 2 movies to use as inspiration. But I love this movie. This movie is great. The only couple of things, and I get why they had to cut them because of the runtime requirements at the time. They could only be 67 minutes. There were 2 scenes that were in the comic that I wish were in the movie. It's the one in the Batcave where the Kingdom Come Superman shows up and is about to throw the 1966 Batmobile onto Batman, I believe, in the Batcave. If you remember that scene from the comic.
Yeah.
And then Other scene that I wish was there was when when Lex first puts the bounty on Batman and Superman.
Uh,
The Bat family and the Superman family. So Nightwing, Cassandra Cain,
Nightwing,
Batgirl,
Flash.
Robin,
Yeah.
and then the Matrix Supergirl with Superboy and Steel, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They all head to the White House to confront Lex. I wish those two scenes would have been in the movie. I understand why they were cut, but
Yeah.
the
For character
fanboy me was like,
purposes.
man, those two
Yeah.
scenes from the comic. I wish they were there.
I know. Yeah.
But again, the movie was so good that even not having those two scenes,
Mm-hmm.
um, it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, I love this movie. I haven't watched it in a good long while,
Yeah. Same here.
but I think I'm going to start making it part of my yearly rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was that good. Just remember, it was that good. So if you haven't seen this movie, because for whatever reason,
Yeah.
do yourself a favor and watch it because it is one
No,
of
it's
the
worth your
best
time.
films depicting Batman and Superman together that you'll find. So I recommend that. Let's do a letter grade for it before we finish up here. So Nick, what would you give it as a letter grade?
Yeah, I gotta give this movie an A. It's a quintessential Batman Superman story for me. It is that rarity where like the movie's just as good as the book, right? And you can have your personal preference on which one you still prefer. But it's Batman and Superman. It's them on the same side. It's them going up against heroes and villains and Lex Luthor. The amount of DC Easter eggs that are in this movie is
Yeah,
incredible. It's the perfect runtime. It's not going to take too much of your time.
yeah,
And the movie just fits. It flows. So this movie's in NA, and it's highly rewatchable for me. How about you?
yeah. This is what I would consider a quintessential summer blockbuster type of movie. Um, and it gets an A for me again, just because the comic version was the story that brought me back into comics. So it's always going to have a soft spot for me. And the fact that it was adapted so well and so faithfully. I miss this era of animated movie. And
Yeah.
um, I don't know what kind of animation James Gunn has planned. But I hope if they're going to adapt, like if for example, Woman of the Supergirl movie is adapting Woman of Tomorrow, so presumably it'll have a look similar to that comic. I hope that if in the course of his animated, because he said there will be some movies that are going to be animated, like we know Dynamic Duo is animated,
Mm-hmm.
but if there are specific comics that they are using as influence when they make an animated movie for a theatrical release, I do hope they use animation that is inspired by whatever the comic they're adapting or using as influence looks like, because that was one of the selling points for this movie is that it looked like the comic.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's an A for me. I absolutely love it. It was just so fun, and
Mm-hmm.
I know which Batman Superman movie I'll be watching in my rotation, and it won't be the live action one. So, but yeah, it's an A for me. But that's it for this show. As I said off the top, dedicated to Logan. If you would like to continue the conversation with Nick or I about Batman, Superman, or any other of the nerdy things we talk about, you can on social media. Nick, where do they track you down?
Yeah, thank you, Adam. This was a blast as always. I'm on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Instagram at Nick Zendik. Of course, you guys can hear me over on the Vigilante 1939 podcast. So search the name of that show on all podcasts of your feeds. And I do have television reviews over on moviearcher.com. Thank you, sir.
Right, nice. Definitely check them out. Good stuff as always. If you want to track me down, it's at Adam_LeesFan on X or Twitter or the Brendan Sklenar fan club, whatever you want to call that app. I'm also on Instagram and Blue Sky. I'll leave one of the two links for those as well in the description. We do have a Facebook group, which I will definitely link in the description for this video, click it, I will add you, and we can continue the conversation there. But until next time, remember, Batman and Superman are forever. From the first time we hear their friendly banter, from the voices of Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly, to the last. So long, everybody.